The COVID narrative has become complete chaos, and that first video clip is just one aspect of the utter storm of ideas, narratives, and frankly contradictory nonsense that has been pushed by the Faucists in recent weeks. Of course, this particular clip being of the, I would say, traditional sort. The sort that's pushing for vaccine mandates and proclaiming that the COVID-19 vaccine is the best thing that's ever occurred. It's snake oil. It'll cure everything. It will cleanse you of all your problems, and nothing will happen to you ever again. But not everyone seems to agree with this, because you see, a lot has been going on with the COVID narrative over recent weeks, and there has been a lot of confusion about how the media is going to keep COVID in the news. They're desperately trying to do it, despite the fact that there has been quite a bit of COVID fatigue, and the fact of the matter is that it's just not as important in people's lives as it was a year ago, but they're still trying to cling to this idea, as I've already stated, is the only thing keeping up Biden's polling numbers, so why wouldn't they attempt to do such? And the attempts have been schizophrenic in nature. One of the major ones is that, well, the variants are a huge problem. You see, unvaccinated people are variant factories that need to be stopped, and if you don't, then they'll get past the vaccine. And the most recent collage of this would come out of the Epsilon variant, because of course we can't name things in logical ways. Instead, we need to purposely hide information from people. You see, the Epsilon variant comes out of California. It is the a California variant of the China coronavirus. And it is fitting that such a combination would be potentially the worst of any of the variants we've seen thus far. You see, the Epsilon variant is very good at attacking around the vaccine, as much as 70%, as claimed by people who, I don't know whether their study is accurate or not, but it's claimed by some California university that it does such. That could turn out to be complete bunk, I don't know. It's pretty early on in its development, and we just got past the whole Delta Plus variant, the fiasco of about a week ago, but it might end up turning out that way, and if so, vaccine mandates are, well, completely illogical. If they're not even going to help all that much, why would you attempt to mandate it? And many people, to be fair, agree in the media, with all sorts of people making articles to exactly the opposite effect, that, well, no, the vaccine still works against the variants. Don't worry about it. Keep getting the vaccine. You don't need to worry about that, or variants, at least not yet. And this comes along with Fauci saying something to that effect as well, saying, well, we don't need boosters for the vaccine yet, because of course, at some point in the future, we can imagine that his science and data will utterly invert, and suddenly what was completely untrue, utter nonsense yesterday will become irrefutable fact that you can get banned on Twitter for disagreeing with tomorrow. But for now, it seems that he doesn't want boosters to be used, or at least not commonly. And this has led to a lot of confusion in the media. There has been much chaos, rather than in most people's lives or perception of their lives, in the media with regard to this particular narrative, because they need to find a way to figure out how to make you fearful. Fearful of many things, most common of which, I would say, being the virus and the potential fallout of the virus. You see, they're trying to push the idea now that variants are going to cause great problems for the recovery of the world economy. This going for one of Biden's Treasury secretaries or something like that. Janet Yellen is the person, I forget her title, going around and saying, well, if you guys don't get the vaccine and there are variants going around, the COVID will cause the economy to shut down magically again. Nothing else being involved, of course. You see, they're trying to prime you again. They're trying to prime you for another lockdown, and they've been doing this for a while. I've already talked about before that 2 weeks to slow the spread has returned once again into the common rhetoric. But this is going even one step beyond that. You see, they don't just want to lock down the economy. They want to pretend as though the virus is at fault for what they did. They don't want to admit that the world governments of the world, whether it be the U.S. government, more accurately the states' governments, or whether it be many governments within the EU, or Britain, or India, or China, or whoever, are at fault for what happened to the economy. They want to blame the virus. They want to say that nothing would have happened if the virus hadn't showed up. They want to say that they had no choice. They couldn't have done anything other than shut down the economy. Shutting down the economy was the only choice. That's what they want to claim. Don't let them do it. They don't care about the economy. That's the truth of the matter. I mean, it should be obvious from the rest of the Biden administration's completely failed policies that they obviously don't care all that much about the economy, even to the point where they're saying that, well, inflation has its silver linings, like increased paychecks. But don't let them fool you with all of this rhetoric. Don't let them fool you with this talk. If you do, well, might I say you're a fool, and I imagine not watching this video, but if you don't, there's something that you can do to at least forestall some of the effects of this. Don't listen to them. Even if they attempt to make your life harder, even if they try to do blatantly unconstitutional things, continue to do what you'd normally do, especially if you're in America where you actually have legal rights against the government. That could be very helpful to you. In America, you can at least lock into a sympathetic judge who is going to rule the right way, rule with your constitutional rights. Outside of America, well, you're not going to get it in all likelihood. And even in America, it's kind of a coin flip. But there's at least a chance there, and you shouldn't scoff at that chance. You shouldn't say, well, I don't want to try. I don't want to continue to do this. I'm going to just let the governments of the world tell me what to do. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't say, well, I'm just going to go on welfare. I'm just going to take the check. I'm just going to take the funny money and go my way. No, you need to continue. You need to fight. You need to progress. You need to keep moving. If you don't do that, you end up in some bad places. The reality is that nothing is going to change if all the black pills are walking around pitying themselves to death. Nothing is going to change if a bunch of people having personal parties of, oh, I'm so oppressed, are walking around doing nothing. The only way anything is going to change is if you go out and do it yourself. You can't take over a country. You can't, politically, mind you, you can't go out and change the world if you're unwilling to change yourself. You can't. How can you expect to bring order to the world if you can't bring order to your own room? To take a line out of Jordan Peterson's pocket. And that's what you need to keep in mind. Throughout all of these panics about coronavirus or panics about lockdowns, you need to realize that you can't stop. You can't just sit back and say, well, I'm just going to see where this goes. Or, well, I'm just going to lay this one out. No, you need to keep fighting. You need to keep doing what you're doing. You need to keep moving forward. You need to keep improving yourself. You need to keep progressing. And that's where I'm going to leave you guys off. If you enjoyed that video, do subscribe down below and share it wherever you can find a place to share it where you won't get banned immediately. If you want to find places where that won't happen, well, there are pretty links down in the description to new tech platforms where I am at, whether that be BitChute, Odyssey, Rumble, or whether it be Minds, Gab, or Parler, where I'm also at. Those links are all down in the description, on top of breakingonthedaily.locals.com. Go check it out if you want to see a community that talks about the sort of stuff I talk about on here. And that's where I'm going to leave you guys off. I'm KelKidman, this has been Breaking on the Daily, and I'm out.